Wednesday evening, everyone. Welcome to your Wednesday edition of FSU Weather. I'm student meteorologist Tyler Sherrod.
I'm student meteorologist Chris Knoll.
So today, pretty typical day if we're considering the trend of the last 2 weeks. Fairly warm. Not really any rain to be seen though.
We got a little bit of rain yesterday, no rain today.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was hoping yesterday evening we had that rain come through, so I was like, all right, maybe today we'll get it again, but no, just another warm, hot, and fairly muggy day all throughout today.
Yeah. Also, coming up is where more stuff is developing in the tropics, so we're going to talk more on that later.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the tropics, starting to get a little bit active. Now we're in the peak hurricane season right now, so we already saw a lot, and we kept track of Dorian for a very long time, but we're just getting into it. We're going to see a lot more from here on out.
Yeah, we got a lot more hurricanes going, possibly coming in the next month and a half or so.
Yeah, and even right now we have a tropical disturbance right now starting to make its way towards Florida. Might even pose somewhat of a threat to the Panhandle if it continues to develop, maybe even get up to a tropical storm level. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show. That's just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to pass things off to Parker, and he's going to give us an overview of what we can expect for Tallahassee and a little bit for the rest of the show as well.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. So I am going to be talking about what we're going to be expecting here on the show tonight. But currently, right now, it's 94 degrees outside. We did cap off at 95 for today. Partly cloudy conditions are going to persist throughout the afternoon and into the evening hours. Right now, though, on radar, a few scattering clouds popping up on radar, not too much, but over towards the east, towards I-75 near Gainesville and Cross City, you guys are getting some heavier rain right now. Some sort of relief that is needed throughout the area over the next day or so. Some afternoon showers going to be rolling in through St. Mark's, possibly a stray shower or two here in Tallahassee, the state capital. 95 degrees for tomorrow is going to be your high. Winds out of the north at 5 to 10 miles per hour with partly cloudy conditions. And for tonight, we're going to be lowering down into the lower 70s at 72 degrees. Winds still out of the north at 5 miles per hour. Here are your headlines for the show for tonight. Tallahassee is going to stay hot for tomorrow, possibly into Friday. Rain is coming, though. This upcoming weekend, we have a tropical disturbance, possibly Tropical Storm Humberto coming into the weekend. That's going to increase our rain chances into Sunday and possibly into Monday evening. But I'm actually going to send things off to Tyler right now with a look at the southeast.
Thanks, Parker. Here in the southeast, staying warm, not quite as brutal as you expect for the late summer times, but still fairly warm. Montgomery at 96 degrees right now. In the west, Shreveport at 95, New Orleans at 93, Charleston a little bit cooler at 85 degrees right now. So is Orlando, feeling fairly comfortable for this time of year, and Jackson getting down to 92 degrees. Going into our dew points, going to be fairly muggy all throughout. The center part of the southeast is a little bit better. Montgomery with that dew point of 64, feeling a little bit drier. But as we get into Florida, those dew points start to pick up a little bit. Orlando has a dew point of 72. Tampa, dew point of 69. So we're just keeping a generally moderate amount of moisture here in the southeast. And this translates to our current heat index. This is how it actually feels outside. Shreveport and New Orleans feeling like 100, still very brutal over there. Tallahassee feels like 98. I know I felt that heat today whenever I was walking to class. Orlando fairly comfortable at 91. And as we move eastward throughout the southeast, just a little bit more comfortable in those lower 90s. Satellite radar showing high pressure system sitting over the top of South Carolina and North Carolina, and we see some scattered showers all throughout the southeast. We're going to zoom into Alabama here. All throughout these interstates and the outside the interstate areas, we're seeing rain showers start to move through, especially right here moving westward. Huntsville seeing a little bit of rain right now, and then moving up north to Tennessee, seeing some scattered showers through the interior part of Tennessee, and it's starting to move towards Nashville as well. Our wind speeds and direction show this high pressure system is really the main dominant feature that's showing where our winds are going, has clockwise wind directions. In Tallahassee has winds at 8 miles per hour. And then a little bit breezier as we get into central Florida. Orlando has winds getting up to 14 miles per hour. Tampa getting up to 10. Invest 95L is currently about a 40 to 60% chance of development as it continues to move towards Florida. We're going to continue to keep an eye on it. Don't know exactly where it's going to make landfall yet. Some places have it going into the Panhandle, some into Central Florida. Really, any place that's inside of this orange area or even close to it just needs to keep an eye out and see what happens with that. Over the next 24 hours, going to see some scattered showers move throughout the southeast, and the 24 hours after that, going to be a very similar story, just scattered showers all throughout the region. For tonight, going to be in the mid to lower 70s all throughout the southeast, and then for tomorrow, going to be fairly similar to today, moderate or mid to upper 90s all throughout. Orlando getting down to 87 though. But now I'm going to pass things off to Chris. He's going to give us our first local look of the evening.
Thank you, Tyler. Moving into the next local view over at Doak Campbell Stadium. Mostly clear skies. We got a few clouds scattered here and out, but as it's been for most of the day, bright and sunny. Moving into a local view of temperatures, most of the area is in the lower 90s. Tallahassee and Sumarta are both at 94, but mostly in the lower 90s. Moving into our dew points. Our dew points are higher than what they were before, which is going to raise our heat indexes, but mostly we're at the high 60s, low 70s. Our current heat index, we're in the upper 90s. That's why it's still feeling super hot outside. Actually is feeling warmer than 100 degrees in both Carabel and Samarta right now. So make sure you're still drinking plenty of water as we're moving on to seeing our satellite and radar. There's not a lot of there's no rain coming in right now in terms of storms. You got a little bit of ground scatter here in Tallahassee. Don't get confused with the rain showers graphic. Over the next 24 hours, you're going to see some clouds move in and out. Maybe a chance of a little bit of showers showing up in around Perry and Marcelo and Tuesday evening as a pass through the lower Panhandle, moving on to the evening. Going on to tonight's forecast, we're going to be in the 70s throughout most of the area. It's going to feel pretty cool. It's not going to be super cold. It's not going to be in the 90s. However, tomorrow will be another day of being in the 90s. It's going to be super hot. Hopefully, we have some rain and go for the coolest down, but we're going to be staying in the 90s for quite a while. Going on to tonight in Tallahassee, it's going to be 72 degrees, partly cloudy, winds coming from the north, 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow's forecast is going to warm up to 95 once again, partly cloudy, winds from 5 to 10 miles an hour coming out of the north, possibly going to bring some things in. Going on to Thursday, Friday. Thursday and Friday are both going to be sunny and hot. Friday's partly cloudy. We are slowly going to trend down to cooler temperatures as Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday all have pretty good storm chances that will cool us down so we're not super hot. Wednesday, once again, also have storm chances. For now, I'm going to pass things off to the desk with Michael and Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. And later in the show, we'll look at a little bit of an active tropics out towards the Atlantic, but it's also the same thing in the Western Pacific where they have Typhoon Ling Ling. I hope I said that right.
Yeah, Typhoon Ling Ling actually struck South Korea a couple of days ago on Sunday, resulted in several deaths in the country and also widespread power outages for many people.
Yeah, and a lot of that part of Asia, they rely on their crops and their farmland, and a lot of that farmland was destroyed by the typhoon, unfortunately. And so there might be some severe food shortages in the upcoming weeks due to that.
Yes, and really, it's easy to forget that these hurricanes and tropical storms aren't just happening in the Atlantic. We have the whole Pacific region as well. So countries in Asia can really be impacted by these storms, even though they don't make their way to Asia as often as they make their way to the United States.
Yeah, the West Pacific can be pretty active, more active than the Atlantic, and it can have some pretty intense tropical cyclones like Typhoon Haiyan a few years ago that got up to 200 miles per hour as a super typhoon. That's what they characterize their major hurricane. They call them super typhoons.
And we even saw earlier in the summer that Hawaii had a couple of close calls with some tropical cyclones that moved past them earlier in the season.
Yeah.
So really just in the Pacific regions, they also have to keep watch. But going back to Typhoon Ling Ling, winds got up to 196 kilometers per hour.
Yeah, so for miles per hour, that's 122 miles per hour. So that's basically a mid-grade Category 3 hurricane right there. So it's a pretty severe storm. That's a major hurricane for our standards.
And really, it wasn't just the food shortages that caused problems. They also had hundreds of flights canceled in South Korea. Many buildings were damaged. Not a lot of people were prepared for this kind of storm to make landfall.
Yeah, and so we're going to continue monitoring the tropics. Again, we're going to be talking about what's happening in the Atlantic later in the show. But for now, I'm going to send it out back to the wall where we'll take a look at a pretty interesting national. You'll start to notice how we do, well, there's a lot of look at a 7-day. But we'll start to notice how we do have a little bit of a trough and a ridge pattern setting up in the country. We do have a trough, meaning that there's some cooler, unsettled weather in the west, and then we have a more of a ridge-like pattern in the east, where you can see that high-pressure system located in the southern Appalachians. And what that's really doing is bringing a lot of above-average temperatures to a lot of the southeast. A lot of the southeast has been breaking record highs over the last few days, and that's going to continue for at least the rest of the work weekend, for the beginning part of that weekend. So you see that setup currently right now. And the temperatures show you, notice where the trough is with that cooler conditions, 58 in Salt Lake City, but on the other side of the Rockies in Denver, it's 80 degrees. So it shows you when you have a trough, a little cooler, a little bit unsettled, and we actually had some snow in the higher elevations over the last few nights out there. Meanwhile, in the east, especially in the southeast, really hot conditions for this time of year. Well into the 90s, 94 in Atlanta, 92 in Memphis, and 93 in New Orleans. You notice in the dew points as well, we have that southerly flow with the ridge setting up over the southern Appalachians. So dew points relatively high in the mid to upper 60s to around 70 degrees in Kansas City, but much drier air across the Intermountain West with dew points in the mid to upper 40s. So it feels like temperature with those higher dew points in the east. It feels a little bit hotter, about 5 to 10 degrees cooler than your actual air temperature, with 93 in Memphis, 96 down New Orleans and Tallahassee, and 92 in Atlanta. You can actually notice this front, a little bit of a warm front, with 94 in Kansas City and 68 in Minneapolis as well. Now, the water vapor shows you that big trough in the west and that ridge in the east. Notice all these storms riding up and above the ridge in the northern Great Lakes. And you also notice a little bit of a spin down towards Tallahassee. That's an upper level low, and that's actually flaring up some showers and thunderstorms in northern Alabama and in eastern Tennessee this afternoon. So that's really what's giving them the lift for those showers and thunderstorms. So you notice we do have some shower and thunderstorm activity with severe watches in the plains and as well in the Great Lakes. That low pressure, as we've been talking about for the last few minutes, is really giving some higher elevation mountain snow and then some severe weather out towards Rapid City, where they actually had a tornado overnight last night due to the severe thunderstorms. So another round of the severe thunderstorms expected through the evening, and we do have a severe thunderstorm watch in effect for Nebraska and northern Colorado until 10 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And given that we're expecting heavy rainfall amounts with this cold front moving through the northern plains and the northern Midwest, expect some flash flooding with the flash flood watch to tomorrow at 7 p.m. We also have these disturbances riding north of the ridge up towards Michigan, so you can see we do have some severe storms with them, with some severe thunderstorm warning in orange, and then in pink we have a severe thunderstorm watch. Now for tomorrow, the system in the west starts to move up towards the northern plains. You can notice where the front really sets up. 84 in Kansas City compared to 53 in Bismarck. Meanwhile, another day of some record-breaking temperatures down towards the southeast. Let's send off to Tyler now to take a look at a very summer-like Florida.
Yes, very summer-like indeed, Michael. Nothing surprising here in Florida. Upper 80s to mid-90s all throughout the region. Orlando 85 degrees. Jacksonville actually getting all the way down to 84. Key West down to 83. Tallahassee is our hottest part of the region at 94 degrees. And Pensacola, sunny and 89 there. Dew points show that it's still fairly muggy all throughout the state. Orlando having that dew point of 72 degrees. They saw some scattered showers moving through the central part of the region. In Tallahassee, 68-degree dew point, so not quite as moist, but still very hot all throughout. Miami also getting down to that dew point of 68 degrees. And then the satellite showing just nothing too organized, just some spotty showers all throughout, really central, towards central Florida for the most part. Jacksonville starting to get some a little bit too, and getting down into Miami, seeing a few scattered showers as well. The Panhandle is clear for the most part, except just a couple of spotty showers to the south of Tallahassee. Some weather alerts for South Florida, a small craft advisory in effect until Thursday at 5 a.m. Just be very careful if you're going out on the water in South Florida towards Miami and the Key West. And then forecast model showing over the next 24 hours, the spotty showers are really just going to continue. The same trend is going to continue for pretty much all of Florida, getting into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, and even into Friday. We can see this invest right here going to start bringing more rain towards central Florida. Tomorrow's forecast for South Florida, West Palm Beach 86, Fort Lauderdale 86. As we move down, Miami getting down to 88 as well. And then Naples 92 degrees. Going to expect some storms moving through all throughout South Florida. Key West though, just expecting some cloudy skies and getting up to 88 degrees. For Central Florida, Cocoa Beach at 86, Melbourne at 87. Going to be sitting in the mid-80s for everyone, and also expecting some rain for Central Florida on the east side. West side might be a little bit more clear. Tampa getting up to 92. St. Petersburg getting up to 93 degrees. Moving up to the northeastern part of Florida, Jacksonville going to get up to 88 degrees tomorrow. Live Oak up to 91. Really, we're seeing these coastal regions are going to be the ones that are going to see most of the rain getting into tomorrow. And then looking at tonight for all of Florida, going to be in the mid-70s all throughout. But as we get into South Florida, going to be hitting 80 degrees. Key West even getting down to 81. For tomorrow, upper 80s for most of the region, and then getting into the mid-90s, a little bit hotter in the Panhandle. Now I'm going to pass things off to Michael and Chris for another desk segment for us today.
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. And I said earlier in my national that there was a tornado in Rapid City. It wasn't Rapid City. It was actually Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And we're going to be talking about that and the overall setup of what's happening, again, in our desk. So as I said in our national earlier, Chris, is you had that low pressure system in the west, and we've had some severe storms ahead of it, especially in the northern plains over the last day or so. And you saw it's continuing into this evening and the overnight hours.
Yeah. As said before, there was a tornado in Sioux Falls. About how fast did that get up to?
Yeah, so the National Weather Service, they did a survey earlier today, and they confirmed that it was a EF2 tornado with 125 mile-per-hour winds. And actually, the tornado went through the center part of Sioux Falls. It actually went through some parts of the downtown area, and there was some pretty major damage based on pictures and images we saw earlier today, but looks like injuries were at a minimum, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's always a good thing to find out that the worst case scenario has been avoided.
Yeah, and we still have that risk going into the evening hours with that severe thunderstorm watch again in effect for the rest of the evening until 10 o'clock local time for Nebraska and for parts of Colorado as well.
Yeah, you always want to make sure your weather alert if you're in that area.
Yeah.
Watch for, stay safe, don't go outside during the thunderstorm.
Yeah, just be prepared. Just take the necessary precautions. Don't be in a mobile home. That's not a good place at all for a tornado. Always be in a sturdy structure actually connected to the ground electrically. But again, that system is going to move up towards Canada as we go into the next few days. It's really going to go around that ridge of high pressure. Even though it's going to weaken just a bit, the ridge in the southeast and the eastern two-thirds should protect the majority of the U.S. from that front, especially east of Kansas City as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And for now, we're going to send things off with Michael, actually.
We're going to take a look at what's happening in the Atlantic Basin in particular. We have 3 disturbances out there One pretty pertinent to our area for the weekend. Mainly, we're expecting a rainmaker for now, but that could change as we go into the next 48 hours or so. So you've seen in terms of our names, we've gone through all the way to Gabrielle, and the next name on our list is Umberto. That might actually come as we go into the weekend, and it's this system right here, north of Hispaniola and Cuba, moving to the southern and central Bahamas. So we also have another disturbance. This one is really expected to dissipate, and then we have our third tropical wave all the way out to the words of Cabo Verde Islands. Let's first focus on the one in the Bahamas, Invest 95L. Not a close circulation yet, but it's right around the southern Bahamas, moving west around 8 miles per hour. Now, the one thing that is in favor for the system is the warm water temperatures. These darker reds and more black-like colors indicate temperatures around upper 80s to around 90 degrees in terms of sea surface temperatures. And we have all of that. You can notice some cooler waters up towards the northern Bahamas. That's because of Dorian with all that upwelling brought in those cooler waters. But for this system, expected to move over the much warmer waters of the Florida Straits and the Gulf. So it has a 40% chance of development for the next 48 hours, 60% for the next 5 days. Again, the general area of development could be anywhere from the eastern coast of Florida all the way to the north central coast of north central part of the Gulf Coast. So something to keep in mind of for the next 48 hours and going into early next week. You'll start to see it starts to organize a little bit, but we don't really expect much organization until we get into later Friday and especially towards the weekend. Now, our next system is right about 500 to 1,000 miles east of the Lesser Antilles. This system is really expected to dissipate, has a lot of shear and dry air impacting it. This is the one we might have to watch going out in towards 10 days. Some models are indicating it will be near the Bahamas as we go 10 days in advance. Again, that's going to change. It's way out there. So just something to keep an eye on. We have a lot of time to watch this. Again, at least a week and a half to 2 weeks for this system. But again, the main impact for us in terms of rainfall over the weekend will be from Invest 95L. Now let's send it back to Chris to take a look at our final local forecast for Tallahassee.
Thank you, Michael. As we're moving in, getting a glimpse at our local almanacs, we're at 95 degrees, so it's about 6 degrees above average right now in Tallahassee. As I'm sure you're all aware, it's been extremely hot for the last 2 weeks. Not quite at a record-setting high in 2010, but we're getting there. Hopefully we cool down a bit. Once again, satellite and radar. There's not a lot of cloud cover going on. You can see a little bit of scattered storms that I covered up over by Lake City, Gainesville, moving into Cross City. Going to our local view at the temperature, so I'll walk back over here, we're in the mid-90s throughout most of the area. Apalachicola is actually going to drop down to below 90 degrees. However, as we get a look at our dew points, they're very moist right now as compared to what they were last week around this time. We are in the upper 60s, low, and even even at 75 in Carabel right now. What those dew points, higher dew points, are going to do is they're going to raise our heat index, so it's going to feel a lot more. It's going to feel a lot hotter than the actual temperature is. As you can see, it feels 3 degrees warmer in Tallahassee at 98 degrees, and it's in Carabel and Samarta. It's going to feel above 100. It's going to feel 101. Definitely want to make sure you've been drinking a lot of water this week and for the next few days to come until Index 95L possibly comes in with some more storms to cool us down. Moving on to our wind speed and direction, we're really all over the place right now. There's calm winds in Samarta. There's no wind at all. But over at Valdosta on the other side of the Panhandle, you have 12 degrees, 12 knots, not degrees. Once again, talking about Invest 95L, possibly Umberto come in and has a 40 to 60 chance into developing into a tropical depression and then into a tropical storm, which will bring us a lot of potentially a lot of rain for over the weekend to next week. Over the next 24 hours, you'll see a few clouds scattered, come and go. Not really any showers coming in until Thursday evening. Going into tonight in Tallahassee, it's 72 degrees, partly cloudy, winds 5 miles an hour coming out of the north. Getting a look at a dog walking forecast, 82 degrees, warming up all the way to 92 degrees at 3 p.m. Definitely would recommend walking your dog early tomorrow because of, once again, it's been hot. Getting a look at our 7-day forecast. Tomorrow is going to be hot. Friday's also still going to be pretty hot, but it will start a trend of us cooling down with the storms being brought in from I-95L, possibly Umberto. Going to be cooling us off. For now, I'm going to be sending us off to our last death segment with Tyler and Parker.
Thanks, Chris. So yeah, that 7-day looks very, very different from what we've seen in the past 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, the past 2 weeks, very sunny, almost no rain to be seen. A little bit coming through yesterday, but as we start working towards the end of the week and this weekend, we're going to see a lot more rain, especially with that threat of the tropical disturbance lingering over us right now.
Absolutely. Last night we saw parts of western Leon County have a significant weather advisory in effect. That was really the only rainfall that we've seen here in the past 2 weeks. We talked about possibly Humberto with Invest 95 coming in. That's why those rain chances are up on Saturday in the afternoon hours, into Sunday, and even into early next week.
And we're even in like a minor drought in Tallahassee right now, so this rain can really help get us out of that. And the rest of the southeast also in that drought might be seeing more rain for them as well. But I'm seeing Sunday 84 degrees. I don't think I've seen a high temperature that low in Tallahassee in a while.
Yeah, extremely overcast conditions. If Invest 95 does develop and gets into the Gulf, starts to develop, it will bring rainfall. It will lower the temperatures. You can see that 84 like Tyler was talking about. It's going to be cooler, but it's going to be stormy, perhaps some heavier rainfall that we haven't seen in quite some while.
Yeah, so make sure to pack the umbrella with you if you're going anywhere. I know I've been without my umbrella for a while because I know there's been no threat of rain whatsoever. And maybe if you don't have an umbrella, bring a rain jacket or something. But really, these temperatures dropping by over 10 degrees, that's great for me. I can deal with the rain. I can't deal with the heat quite as much.
Yeah, and actually those temperatures are below average. Our average for this time of year is 89 degrees. So Saturday, Sunday, and Monday are all below average. So, I mean, you can follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/FSU weather.
You can also like us on Facebook, facebook.com/FSU weather as well.
And you can watch us live on YouTube at 6 p.m. every weeknight at youtube.com/FSU weather.
And you can also follow us on Instagram at FSU weather. If you have any cool pictures that you want to send us, be sure to send us those pictures as well. But today, been a pretty great day. Happy birthday to our own Parker Beasley, his 21st birthday today.
Thank you. I'm going to celebrate after the show. Maybe not too hard, but, you know. From all of us here at FSU Weather, I'm student meteorologist Parker Beasley.
And I'm student meteorologist Tyler Sherrod. Have a great night.